Welcome back, tropical design students. So I'd like to show to you a sundial that has been designed for latitude north, latitude 7 north. So you notice that if you look at the side view, the gnomon, this rod, is slightly slanted, okay, and the angle between this slant and the ground is 7 degrees, and that 7 degrees correspond to the latitude, uh, latitude 7 north. Okay, so this sundial has been oriented directly to the north, and that north is incidentally is what we call the azimuth 0. Okay, so the reason we are trying to study sundial is because if we understand how the sundial operates, then we understand exactly how the sun holds its position, in the sky at different times of the day and different days of the year. So this is the shadow when it is 12 o'clock noon and on June 21. Okay? So this kind of sundial, by the way, is what we call an equatorial sundial. This is the one that is appropriate for the locations which are near the equator. There are many designs of sundial, but this one is appropriate. Why? Because there are times that the sun is on the north, and there are times when the sun is on the south, or what we call southerly. So in other locations, most of the time the sun is either on the north only and never on the south, or if you are in the southern hemisphere, very much deep down into the southern hemisphere, like perhaps 40 degrees south latitude, then the sun will be, most of the time, will be on the north side. Okay, but since we are in the equator, the sun, for example, in this time of the day and June 21, the sun is on the north. Okay? Then we know that it's on the north because you see the shadow. Okay, you see the shadow of this gnomon. Now let me just change the month, from June all the way to December 21, which is the winter solstice, and let us observe what happens to the shadow as we advance the month. Okay, so this is June 21, this is July, and then August. You notice that the sun is rather becoming more and more overhead, and on September it's quite directly overhead. This is again a specific characteristic of the tropics, whereby there are times of the year when the sun becomes overhead, at least once and at most twice. It happens only once if you're on the edge of the equator, on the edge of the region, which is either 23.5 north or 23.5 south. So if you're on the edge, then you will experience an overhead sun only or once a year. So this is now September, and let's advance to October. Okay, now the sun has shifted to the south. Okay, so there's no shadow on the northern side, it is turned away from the sun. So let's look at the south now. No, you see that the new moon has cast a shadow. Okay, and then by the way, by the shadow, you will be able to tell the time. No? You can mark the time there, 12 o'clock, and then let's advance the month to November, and then December. Okay, so that will be the position of the sun on December, and comparing it with June 21. Okay, so you will understand that in the tropics the sun is almost always overhead. Okay, so it will tell us that whenever we design a building, it would make sense if we make the roofing quite reflective of the sunlight. The roof should be colored like white. In some books that we have read, the greenest color is white. Okay. So the greenest color is white. Now, if you make a line from this tip to the shadow, and then make another line when it is June from this tip, okay, and then you put that line together, it will appear something like this. Okay? So this is the December sunlight angle, which is on the south, and on June 21 it will be this. Okay, okay. This is the time at noon. Okay. Now, what happens if you go northern latitude, like this is 7 degrees north? What happens if you go, let's say 20, 30? So this kind of like a part, no, of a whole circle will just be rotating about this point. By the way, the total angle of this is 23.5 times 2. So that's 47 degrees. Okay? And it will always be 47 degrees wherever you are. Okay? So what will happen is if you go further north, this angle will just shift. Okay? Okay, we just shift like this. As you go northern hemisphere towards 45, 46, this angle will lie down, no? In such a way that you notice that the angle in December is much lower compared with the angle on June 21, which is rather good. No? I mean, yeah, you must have seen that in some literature, that in December, when it is winter, where you have a lot of snow, and when the trees have shed its leaves, then the sunlight will have a lower angle, so that it will penetrate into the windows. That will somehow contribute to the heating of the house, no? When it is December. And when it is June, during the summer months, the angle is much steeper, and the angle of this particular sun during this summer month is in such a way that is going to be blocked by an overhang if you have. No? But this is not the case. No? In the tropics, it's something like this. No? So You need overhang on the south, you need overhang on the north, and of course during sunrise and sunset, we have not talked about it. When we change the time, no? So the eastern side will receive a lot of sun, and when the sun goes down, no, after late afternoon, on the western side, you still need a lot of sun protection. So, in a way, to understand this, in the tropics, all the surfaces of the house, of the building, will receive its share of sunlight, but not quite in the areas in subtropical and temperate regions where the sun does not appear at all. No? If you are in a 45-degree latitude, the northern side of your house will never see the sun at all. No, it will always be on the south. So therefore, the south will receive a lot of sun, and depending on your need, no? Okay? If it's winter, you wanted that sun. In summer, you try to avoid that sun. But in the tropics, they say it's always summer, no? In fact, the coldest time of that we ever get is when it's the evening and until the sun rises again. That would be the winter. The winter in the tropics is that nighttime that we begin to the buildings begin to cool because the sun has disappeared. And then once the sun has risen, then that's the time again to heat up the building, and it becomes summer at around 12 noon to 1 o'clock. And you have 4 seasons in a day somehow, no? Okay? So I hope I have made myself clear. Good day, and thank you.